Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a nice week so far. It's been beautiful and sunny here in the UK, about 27 degrees today, which is going to be nice. And as we was doing our trading this morning in the live room, we came across a situation from yesterday's predictions and yesterday's setups that played out very, very nicely on the pound yen. And I want to share that with you because I did a little lesson here, a little workshop here on double tops, double bottoms, and it was extremely popular. Go and check it out if you haven't already, and then come back to this video. But since I ran that workshop, there's been some questions around the kind of some of the subjectivity of what defines a double top, double bottom, and is this valid, is that valid? And I've had lots of questions, we've had lots of emails with screenshots, which is amazing. That's great. It's what I encourage you to do. But I just want to iron out something that played out on the pound yen, iron out something that's perfect for a follow-up for that session. So what we're looking at here is the pound yen. And on the pound yen, what we saw was we was approaching this major level of resistance. And we identified this about a couple of weeks back in the live room. We pinpointed and highlighted this zone. And just this week, we've started to push up and see a test of that. Now, if we look down on the 4 hour, we started to form this double top. And the double top is going to be valid depending on how you trade the double top, right? So there was two types of people. Person one got involved with a trade and managed to capture the profits. Person two didn't, wasn't able to capture the profits on this one. And I want to explain to you things that you might want to bear in mind when going to test this system to give you either one more opportunities, and the other one's going to give you a higher strike rate, a higher probability. So then you've got to find the sweet spot between the two, but you definitely don't want to discard one or the other when you're doing your testing phase. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this out on the full screen here. Let's go down to the 240. And what you're going to see is we already highlighted the major resistance zones. We don't need to identify that. We're already there. We've already done that based on the higher time frame. But what I want to do is zoom right in on this and look at what happened here, because there's two ways that you can define the initial test, and there's two, and that will dictate how you can get in on the second test. So the first way, remember in the workshop, if you've seen it, I said the initial test is the highest high, okay, and the highest close. Now, if you're using the highest high to the highest close for your zone to be tested for the second test, this is the highest high here, this candle, right? This is the highest high that we had on that initial test. But the highest close is the next candle. So that means that if you're using the highest high and the highest close, your zone for the second chance entry, for the entry for the double top, is going to be in this zone here. Does that make sense? Now, if you use the highest high candle as the zone, then you're just looking at the high zone on this candle, which means your zone would be this. Make sense? So instead of the highest high to the highest close, which would be a narrow zone, you're using the highest high candle, which would be this zone here, which means you would have got involved. You would have got in here at 155.88, and then your targets would have been at structure. So we used, when we got involved with this in the live room, we had just above, front running above those previous inside structure levels, just down here. And then we had an ATR based stop above the high, which put us around, where was it now? Let me just, it was 155, 156.08. We were around 140, I think, 156.40. So the risk reward profile was great. Even if you got above the previous high, that's still going to give you a great reward to risk. But the thing to bear in mind here is one is going to give you more opportunity using the highest high, and one is going to give you more high probability. Okay, because it's a shallower zone, but you're going to be right more than you're wrong, as opposed to having more opportunities and having a less of a strike rate. So I hope that makes sense. Now, if all is not lost, if you haven't got involved with this, there's another setup that could potentially play out here, and that's what we call a 2618 setup. So we're essentially looking for a pull back now into form a lower high. So we're looking at a 618 retracement, a push into the 618 retracement, and then the way that you handle this, instead of using this, let's use the short position tool. Let's bang that on there. And of course, you've got an ATR still above the high, but your targets will be at the low. And it's usually a 1-to-1 reward to risk on this one. You see that's a 0.9 there. Depending on the ATR, it will be about a 1-to-1. They typically are risk reward profile, which is still great. The great thing about the 2618 again is that it has a higher probability, right? So higher probability setup, about 62% strike rate on this particular pair based on my own testing. So my eyes are going to be different to yours, remember, but about 62% strike rate on the pound yen. If you can catch those high probability ones, and that is what we're looking at. So if you haven't got involved in that already, then there's your opportunity there. And if you're enjoying this style of video and these updates, please make sure that you give us a like, share the video around, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this right now, definitely go and do that so that I know that you're enjoying it. And don't forget to comment and leave comments on what you'd like to see on the channel as well, because I'll happily do more in that. As you can see, I'm doing this video purely based on questions we got about the double top strategy. So I'm really up for going into rabbit holes on this stuff so that you guys, the penny drops and you walk away better than we found you. So that's the goal. So that's the situation on the pound yen. I'm going to drop back out to the main view here and set this back to the daily, because just quickly, I want to talk about the rest of the market. Now, this week, we've got non-farm payroll on Friday. Lots of anticipation in the market. We've just got sideways movement. We've got sideways movement, sideways movement, sideways movement. And there's a lot of anticipation in the market here. So we're not really looking at too much in terms of other setups, but the pound yen was a good one to share with you. I think we're going to get shaken out of some of this consolidation on Friday. So next week, there should be some more opportunities for us to take advantage of. So until then, take care. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you then.